Welcome to Azusa Canyon. It's real hot today, 97 degrees. Perfect opportunity for Zack and I to see what the 991.2 Carrera 4S is all about. You may know this guy from his role destroying cars in All Cars Go to Heaven 1 and 2.
Half of that was my fault.
Yeah, and on the podcast. And you like the idea of someone to talk to, so here he is. Also, if he wasn't in here, he'd have to stand on the side of the road for 15 minutes while I did this, and it's hot out, so sympathy for the old man. I keep checking my mirror because there's a CHP back there that we're trying to avoid. So, while we can, let's do this and talk about it on the road. Yes. All right, what mode are we in? I'm going to go into sport mode. So, Zachary.
Yes, sir.
No, we had the base Carrera with a stick and almost no options that we did for a drive film. And I don't want to give too much of that away because it's for television, but it was great.
Very nice car. Very, very nice. Feels really light in the hands. Placeable. Kind of the essentials of driving a Porsche, I guess.
And it gave you a lot of car for under 100 grand.
Yep.
And it was sort of the bottom end of the Carrera spectrum. This is at the top of the Carrera spectrum. This is all-wheel drive, S, PDK, with PASM, with PDCC, with rear-wheel steer. It has all of the things. And so that means... Sorry, what?
This is everything you can get in the Carrera before it becomes a turbo.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's 142 grand as tested, which is a lot, but Zach and I have found a few things we could easily whack off that
Later.
price.
Later, Matthew.
Later. Porsche, when you want to whack off that option box.
And they do let you. Let's
do.
segue into that,
Yes.
so it's not dirty. Other car companies, a lot of times, if you want to get these sport wheels or these sport suspensions, you also have to get the leather luggage liner or a package with it, and they will take away anything you don't want from the sports package, and you can do it piecemeal.
Yeah, Porsche will mix and match. So this one has the sport package, which comes with sport chrono, sport exhaust. It doesn't have a Prius laser gun, which they really should include.
Yep.
Can I get by? Burglary camera systems Prius. It's got a bunch of good stuff, and where do I even go from there? Oh my God! All I want to do is get by this Prius.
Car slowed brain as well.
Can I pass?
Well,
yes.
This is the.
Thank you, sir.
My
horn doesn't work.
This is the good comparison to the car from last week, because that was bare bones.
Yeah.
How does that chassis feel to drive with just the new engine, manual, two-wheel drive? And this is like, well, you get the Porsche dynamic chassis control, like flattening things out, sorting things out, for like all the stuff. Here's what we can do with all the truth.
Right. That thing at only 3,100 pounds, 370 horsepower, was like super light on its feet, super analog, and really like embraced that Porsche feedback, philosophy. This has all that. It has 50 more horsepower, 420. It weighs about 250 pounds more because of the all-wheel drive and the PDK, and it has more powery seats, so it's a little heavier. It's also a little wider. So what you get is a car that feels even more planted than the Carrera, especially right here in the corners. And the trade-off is the steering is a little heavier.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It feels like you can feel the extra weight in the car if you drive them back to back. And even though it feels a little heavier, like if the road is bumpier, this one feels like the wheels really sink to the ground harder. Is Malibu going to let us by?
The two cars that I've been in, well, I drove the turbo that had PDCC, but they always feel like that there's almost a stop above the wheel where it'll hit a bump or a rock, and there's something that keeps the wheel touching every bit of that rock and coming right back down on the ground.
It feels like your contact patch is a constant.
Yes.
And like when you sit in this car, like the comparison, I suppose F-Type R, similar price points, that has more power, it sounds louder, it's crazier, but this just has that, if there's one thing that Porsche really does, it's that milled from one piece of metal solidness, like all the necessities, but none of the extra fluff or bloat or any of that stuff. So this guy is not going to let us by, which means we are going to have to take a pause for Malibu jerk with no canyon etiquette. Can I get by? No, he has decided that I don't deserve to get by. Okay, we'll be back. I firmly believe, and Zack can tell you if he agrees with me, that Porsche has figured out the relationship between seat, pedals, and steering wheel pretty much better than anybody. And if they made a $25,000 hatchback, it would be as comfortable and perfect to sit in and drive as this.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if they made a desk, like an old school elementary desk with a flip up top,
yeah,
even that would actually fit you, and none of them fit anybody ever who went to school.
Like the ergonomics are just ridiculously good. Like this would be a perfect car. All right, so the perfect car for Southern California is a base Carrera PDK because of the traffic. Perfect car for Northern California, base Carrera manual because you have more suburbia. Perfect car for Greenwich, Connecticut would be this one because it's year round.
Yeah.
Like you could fully year round this one. And if there's anything about these cars that like inspire, like I just want to drive this. I want to drive this a lot. I don't want to park it in the garage and look at it. I want to drive it a whole bunch all year and treat it like a car, not like an exotic.
Yeah, they are the company I think that has best done the combination of driver enjoyment and involvement, and also comfort. Like the ergonomic, all the measurements being correct. That is all. That makes your entire experience more relaxed and more comfortable and less strenuous.
Yeah.
And people go, well, this like a Jaguar is a comfortable seat, but maybe the roofline being slightly too low, you crane your neck a little bit. Over 3 hours, that totally adds up in the strain on your body and your brain.
Let's talk about power for a second. Peak torque. Power comes on at 1,500. Peak is 5,000. Peak horsepower is 6,500. Red line is 7,500. But you only lose about 4% between peak power and red line. So it really does feel like it pulls the whole way through.
That's very impressive engine mapping, I would say, because a lot of dyno graphs of turbo cars, there's much more of a fall off at the end.
Yeah, and it's that flat in the beginning and then the die. Yeah, this is it. This actually, especially with the manual, PDK kind of emphasizes its turbo-ness because it automatically takes advantage of the curves and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But with the manual, you don't lose your Porsche build. You
don't lose the enjoyment of revving an engine out.
That's what I mean. That's better said. It's not like in a BMW M4. If you mat it at $3,000 or $5,000, it's the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where.
It's just go. And
This is there is a difference.
Yeah.
Like they've really gone to lengths to not ruin the feel of the engine. And so let's do a launch control. Shall we, Zachary?
We shall. Put your head against the
launches controls. Here we go. Just easy. Sport plus, traction off, left foot brake, right foot. Two-step and go.
Oh man,
that's solid G-forcing.
Dude, the stomach totally moves to the back of the seat.
It does.
Even without the turbo S on the back of the bed.
No, especially with the all-wheel drive, it gets out of the hole really, really hard.
And here's what I cannot get over and never stop being happy and appreciative of Porsche for is the PDK that you can launch every day, 10 times a day for years and years. And the engineers have backed us up on this. They're like...
Yeah, PDK is rated for 3,000 launches, which is a launch every day for 9 years.
Yeah, or 10 a day.
And that's not that's not the minimum. That's just what they've done. Like, it probably will go longer, but that's just where they got bored.
Well, eventually that guy had to retire because he turned 50. And in Germany, they're like, here's your severance. You have to go home, and that's it. Yeah,
it really shoots out of a corner too.
And
this guy, doesn't he realize what we're doing? What were you gonna say, Zach?
Just the combo of the PDK and the hot weather testing, and like I used to not be a Porsche fan because I don't think they're the most exciting design to look at, but the fact that I can drive it comfortably all the time, fast all the time, in any condition, is a pretty good thing to have.
All right, we're gonna wait for traffic clear again. Sorry. Oh man.
Well, you know what? They really ruined it when they put the turbo in this car.
They absolutely
really
ruined it. It's terrible now.
Yeah.
It's the worst car ever.
It's so bad. It's all fast and sounds like a Porsche still.
This car is really fast. Even without the ceramics too, the monoblock brakes are ridiculous. Like, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good braking.
Like that was just like a slight ABS engagement, but still able to pull out of it. And like, yeah, the 991 is like bigger than it was before, but the more I drive them, and this is probably universal, the less I think about it, it doesn't feel as big as the last one, you know?
You get used to it, and I think the visibility shrinks the car.
You have to go back and forth between a 997 and this. If you don't drive them back to back, it won't make a difference. Jesus, this car is really fast. There's a lot of neat tech in it too. The intakes being in the back and the active aero wing, and it's stuff that you don't think about and doesn't matter to the driver. It's just like invisible, well thought out engineering.
Well, yeah, you don't know how a magic carpet works.
You just care that it's flying.
Yeah, that's all you care about.
Exactly. That's a really good metaphor for this car, actually. Like, there's so much going on in here, and how it works doesn't really matter when it comes down to driving it. Like, you could be nerdy and go down the rabbit hole of engineering in this car for like days, and I have on the press launches. You know, there's like a 6-hour tech presentation on all the stuff in this car, and the truth is, from the driver's seat, not a whole lot of it matters because it's all like so seamlessly integrated that it's just fast.
Without numbing it.
Right.
That's the key.
Right.
That's the key thing I think people worry about a lot, which is fair to worry about. But at this level, it's as this all trickles down, if it ever does, you know, electric steering, people are worried about it.
Yeah.
With them, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I think
the car's really, really good. Now, is it worth 140 grand? It depends if you have 140 grand. If I had the money, this would be my everyday car, or some version of this.
Well, we talked about this. Below this is the RS5. Like, what? This isn't a price point of all-wheel drive premier sports cars that doesn't have much competition. Right. And it also does everything better than its lower competition. Right.
Like, you could get a GTR, but you wouldn't. You could get an RS5 and it wouldn't drive as well as this. You can get an F-Type R and it'll be louder and very pretty and well built, but it's not as solid or precise as this. And
the interior materials are a little better than the Jaguar.
This car lives in its own world and it's happy there. And even though living in LA, we see them a lot, so they don't get the second look. It's not the exotic. But when you're in the driver's seat and you're hustling one down a canyon, or even just commuting to work or going to the store, it has a very special feeling to it, and you understand why. I get why the rich people in LA lease these every year. I totally get it, because it's just a nice place to be. And then when you go up on the mountain, it's an even better place to be. It's awesome. So check out Drive on NBC Sports to see the base Carrera film with the stick that's coming this fall on television. He's a producer. Yay. He's a real job now. And
casting couch, my house.
And this car is great. We didn't have a perfectly clear canyon today, but such is life. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.